So consumer surplus is the difference between the price paid and the willingness to pay. Okay.
Okay.
Price you actually pay and your willingness to pay. And producer surplus is the difference between the price you actually sell for and your willingness to sell, and the price you're willing to sell at. Basically, the way this works is if I draw a demand curve, okay,
Mm.
and a supply curve, that is my price and quantity, right?
Mm.
So that's my demand curve, that's my supply curve. Now, everybody pays P1, right?
Yeah.
But the demand curve is showing the quantity that people are willing and able to pay, the quantity that people are willing and able to buy at each price. So at at this particular price, somebody's willing to pay that much, even though it's way higher. They do pay P1, but they're willing to pay way more.
Mm.
So let's say, you know how McDonald's might be £3.
Yeah.
Somebody out there would be willing to pay £10, right?
Yeah.
But they still pay £3. So their consumer surplus is £7. There's going to be more people who are willing to pay £9. So their consumer surplus is £6.
Mm.
So, and then there'll be some people who are only willing to pay £3, and that's what they actually pay. So they have zero consumer surplus.
Oh, okay.
And the people who are only willing to pay £2, they just don't buy the good because they're never going to sell it at £2. So all of this is showing you the people who get to pay less than they're willing to pay. So that's the consumer surplus.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can you give me that same example in terms of producer surplus?
Surplus. Is it
So if McDonald's is £3,
yeah.
some people are willing to pay £10, so people get consumer surplus out of that. So what would be an example in terms of producer surplus?
Would it be like producers when they sell so would it be like yeah, producers when they sell a good for like to like McDonald's, they sell like a burger for
£3.
£15 or
Okay.
£3.
Yeah, it's
15, 15,
50.
yeah. But they'll be willing to sell it for less, like £10.
Exactly. So there's one guy out there willing to sell this for like £1. So they get a massive surplus. Okay.
Mm.
Some people are willing to sell at £2, so they get some surplus. Some guy willing to sell at £3, £4. All these guys are gonna make some producer surplus.
Yeah.
And the people willing to sell for more than the market price are not gonna sell their thing.
Mm.
Okay. So that's it. It's very simple, but it's just something you have to remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So that and this is what happens in a free market, like when you just leave it to equilibrium, no government intervention. A free market maximizes consumer and producer surplus.
So you know a free market, so
Yeah.
like Singapore, like say businesses are like being shady or like being corrupt, does the government not step in to like stop all that from happening?
Yeah. Even in the UK, that's the thing. So free markets have flaws, like they don't account for externalities. Like for example, well, first of all, like you said, in places where there's markets and then there might be price discrimination, like charging random prices to different people. But
Mm.
also the fact that if you leave like alcohol to a free market, then people are gonna have too much of it because it should be taxed and regulated to make it less accessible because it has negative externalities.
Mm.
So that's the other side to it. But the bit that people often forget is the benefit of the free market. So this is one of the main benefits, the fact that there's consumer surplus and producer surplus being maximized.
Okay.
But yeah, there's both sides to it.